Hello everyone, welcome to the Flatt Pack Show.
And butts fly out of my mouth.
Yeah. Hello everyone, welcome to the Flatt Pack Show, episode 82 I think it was. Every time I always unmute it and I end up interrupting Corey. It's always Corey talking.
Crumple made me do it.
Yeah.
Is that how you work? You
Yeah.
you shift the blame?
Yeah, I think he was it one time he was like, you should try to say some really silly things as it's going off, because the time it actually happened, I've just given away the surprise.
Oh, we had that one time, I think we were talking about sci-fi or something. I was playing a Mass Effect tune, and then just as I came, sort of as it was, the music was fading, I brought the audio back on for you guys, and then Corey was saying something like, "Oh, the first time I watched Anchorman," or something. It sounded really weird and random, talking about Anchorman. But anyway, welcome to the Flatt Pack Show. I'm your host, Flattmeister. I've got my co-host, Switchpoint.
Sup?
And Nerd Waffle.
Hello.
And we have a returning guest. We've got, he goes by the name Gilbert Deltrez, but do you prefer being called Gilly?
Yeah, Gilly sounds so cool, especially when you say it.
Gilly.
Keep it to Gilly. Yeah, Gilly's good, man. That's good. What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me back, man. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I think the last time, I think we were saying just before we went live was, the last time we spoke was about March. We had you on, and yeah, you were going live with your comics, Lair and Pistolera. Is it
Yes.
Pistolera or
Yeah,
Pistolero? I want to make sure that I say it right.
Yeah, she was pregnant, so I want to say it was Pistolera. Yeah, Pistolera. We'll go with that. Yeah.
Yeah, Pistolera. Yeah.
It was fun, dude. That was a good show, man. You were a good dude. I remember we talked for quite a while.
Yeah, it was a really enjoyable chat. How did those projects do? How well did the projects go?
So interestingly enough, Laird, since I had already funded that previously on Kickstarter, so I did a good amount to help give the team a little bonus and do a little print run to help me at Tampa Con, which was pretty much my first Comic Con appearance ever as an exhibitor. So that was pretty fun.
Oh, cool.
And then Pistolera, it did well. We actually funded that, and it got the attention of a small indie producer, which I didn't know. I don't know, because I rarely check my Kickstarter messages unless it's people that I know or that are backing. And I got one that almost seemed like, I don't know if you guys ever familiar with crowdfunding, but you'll get like a ton of spam, like, "Hey, we can help you promote your project," or "Hey, it's just like, okay." This one was like, "Hey, we kind of like this idea, and I done a Netflix show, Warrior Nun, it's in the works or whatever," and he's like, "We kind of like what's going on with Pistolera." And I'm like, "Is this even real?" But so it was turning out to be pretty cool and exciting, and I'm talking to the guy now, and we're trying to see if anything could ever happen. I know these things usually take time, and I don't want to get too excited because, again, you never know what can happen. But so Pistolera turned out great on that. And then just now wanted to do something totally different, and that's where Galactic Rodents of Mayhem came in.
I love that. At first, I was trying to figure out what GROM stood for. I'm like, GROM, that's such a weird name, GROM.
Yeah,
like GROM.
That's what I like it, because it just sounds aggressive. So I just I'm like, for promoting, I'm like, oh, back GROM, get GROM, or just like it just, I don't know, it rolls off the tongue even good. Yeah.
So space guinea pigs, essentially.
I wouldn't want to say.
Sorry, they're not guinea pigs. They're.
There you go.
You
got this.
Come on,
once you say it once.
Cappy.
What's their names?
Go on.
Capybara. Capybara, baby. That's it. And so once you say it once and it rolls off the tongue good, you don't want to stop. It's just like capybara, right?
Yeah.
So this is like, so to me, this is like Once Upon a Hamster, like Once Upon a, but like in space, like you got GP guinea pig, like fucking in a battle cruiser.
Well, like I wanted for me, like Yeah, for me, I'm like, man, like I like writing comics, obviously, right? And I did Lair, which was really dark, and then I did Pistoleta, which is Western. It's like very niche. And I'm like, okay, let me just bring it back to what I remember, what got me excited about comics, and that particular
That was Once Upon a Hamster. Or like,
it was upon a hamster.
I guess they call it
Black...
something different in the UK, like Songs of the Riverwood or something like that.
I love the description. I love the description you've put on Indiegogo. It's a sci-fi space opera inspired by the always awesome Saturday morning cartoons of the 90s.
Yes.
And that perfectly encapsulates what I can imagine GROM.
Yeah, like, because I grew up on Ninja Turtles, the comics, the cartoons, and I'm like, I wanted to encapsulate that fun.
Biker Mice from Mars.
Yeah, well, you know what's so funny, to be 100% honest with you, when I started brainstorming this with Sebastian, I didn't even know about capybaras. I didn't know they existed. Seriously, I was like thinking like guinea pigs, I didn't know anything. And he's like, check out capybaras. And he's like, Sebastian, he's an artist. He's telling me they're chill. They get along with every animal. He's like, even crocodiles. I'm like, come on, dude. And like I Googled it, I found a picture with a capybara chilling alongside a crocodile. I see them with turtles. You'll find it.
I'm gonna search it up and bring it up on the stream.
Do it right now. You see it with turtles, anteaters, monkeys, birds. I'm like, that gave me fuel. No, seriously, I'm like, okay, they really do get along with everything. And then they're semi-aquatic, and then not only that, they're the largest rodent in the world. They're like the size of a boar, or like dogs, full-fledged dogs, like pit bulls. They're big. So I'm like, they're cool, they're big. I'm like, these are fun. And
so
then that,
gonna have if them it wasn't down other animals in space.
There we go. So now here's the thing: if it was guinea pigs, they would have never happened, even though they kind of look like it. But like the inspiration wasn't there. Once I knew more about capybaras, it's like it was oozing out the inspiration.
Guinea pigs? No, you made the right decision. Guinea pigs would more than SJW.
Look at this picture I brought up on the stream. I've got it up on the stream. It is literally sat next to a crocodile.
You see it, right?
Yeah, there's another one.
You can't make this up.
It's sat next to two turtles. There's a turtle it's using as a pillow. It's got about 4 ducks on its back. And like another 3 like sat right in front of it. Oh my god!
I'm telling you, if you there's one with the turtles in a ring, right? It almost looks like he's Master Splinter with like a bunch of turtles. It's like, dude, when I saw this, I'm like, how could you not write about them? So for me, that was the inspiration right there. Then the characters were coming to life. Everything was happening. And then when I was doing more research, that's when I found out about Biker Mice from Mars, because that one totally slipped my radar in the 90s. I was like Ninja Turtles, not even Street Sharks so much, because then by then I was just getting phased out. Yeah, but to add homage to them, I do add references of like all these cool pop culture cartoons by like having like, doppelganger types. Like we do have some, I don't want to say Ninja Turtles, but we do have turtle ninjas in our story. We do have, we have like your Star Fox. We have like all those, you're going to see those references sprinkled in there, as well as some Star Wars references. Because for me, I feel like Star Wars lost its grit. Like it lost what really made it Star Wars. And I'm like, you know what? I want to bring that back. And you'll find some Star Wars references in there. Yeah, you're gonna find it. You'll find it. You'll find it in there. I want to bring. Yeah, it looks colorful, but trust me, there's a gritty story in there. So I want to say it's a team. I don't want to say it's G, because it's definitely not. Because just like Star Wars, I mean, it was rated PG, but yeah, I had parental guidance, right? Because who could forget that image of Luke's aunt and uncle burned to like charred to like a crisp? Right, I mean, like there's some dark stuff going on. I'm gonna rate this book.
I'm gonna rate this book G for G. This is a great book.
So you basically what you're saying is this is gonna be like one of those. There's gonna be like you remember how Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the cartoon, was like, oh, this is a nice like cartoon for kids, right? But like, if you go pick up the Ninja Turtles comics, like they're cutting dudes' heads off. They're bloody.
Thank you.
They're violent.
Thank you. I'm bringing that back, because for me, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, aside of it being inspiration, the story behind the creators who brought it to life is also an inspiration to me and what I want to do with GROM. But also because it was dark. Like Shredder dies in the first issue. Spoiler alert, right? Yeah. I mean, it was gritty. It was fun though. It was fun. It was like they took themselves seriously, but the characters, they had their issues. Their camaraderie was at stake in sometimes, and Raphael wanted to leave the group. Like they had so much going on. And they did that great. So I want to bring that back in a different setting, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of cool because, like, you know, the movie and the TV show were not as gritty as the comic for Ninja Turtles.
Exactly.
But they were still pretty damn gritty for, like, when you compare to other things, like trying to stick to source material and stuff like that. Like, the movie wasn't gritty, but it still dealt with some adult things and subjects and stuff. And the cartoon,
part one I loved.
hated more, but was still big, you know.
We even have a theme song, so I'm thinking of everything. We even have a okay, put it like this. You know Star Wars, right? You know the opening crawl.
Yeah,
we have our own. We have our own opening crawl. So we're just trying, dude. We're just trying to get.
I see that opening crawl. What I'm digging, I'm digging this purple bird right here. I don't know what he's saying. All I see is I got 650 trillion. I'm like, what? Yeah. What do you have 650 trillion of?
100 quadrillion?
Is he like the Dr. Evil of this universe? Like, I'll get 650 trillion, okay?
Yeah, you guys picked up on that. That was just me having fun. We did like the pitch is literally standalone. It has nothing to do with the main story, but I wanted to introduce the characters a little bit and show how they got their flagship, right? Because the flagship is what they use. It's like their Millennium Falcon. It's called the Burning Rose. So I kind of want to show how they got the Burning Rose while, you know, showing a little bit about the character. So
he's Akbar. He's a reference to Akbar, isn't he?
I love the ship design as well. It's got I love the shape of the ship as well. It's got that broad top, almost like the broad top of a capybara. Because they're very distinct.
You know, that's very intentional. Yeah, that was Sebastian. He's the mastermind behind the ship. He put a battering ram on there, like that little spike blade coming out, put racing lines. Like, it's real specific. Like he had that vision once we started talking about it. And that was him. He, you know, I just added some of the narrative stuff that you'll see in the comic. Like everything they talk about in the intro, like it does this, it does that. Like you're gonna see all that in the comic. Like you'll see it explained. So this is like a little extra. But if you didn't know, you know, like I'm trying to put little teasers in there, but you're gonna see all that explained.
See, I like you're saying that it's capable of emitting transitional stealth camouflage.
It's like Wonder Woman's ship, right? And it's like so classic though. Why isn't that used more often? So I felt like in a sci-fi setting, it'd be cool to do that and then show how even that has its flaws, right? Against one of their main enemies are called sniper vipers.
Yes.
And there's one where they're like I'm gonna give you a little spoiler because again I don't know if the book's gonna get funded, right? If we get funded we get to make it. If not, I'll have to try it another time at another point in time, right?
It's gonna get funded. Positivity.
Let's hope
positivity.
I got cross my fingers, right? But the sniper vipers, because they could see heat, right? Pythons, they see heat. Vipers, they see heat. So they're like, what the hell? How they're still following us? Where they're literally invisible, and the ship's following this invisible thing. Yeah. And it's because the sniper vipers, they see thermal. I'm getting excited, guys.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. I got a question for you.
Yeah, what's up?
I don't know, like this Jessica Cariba. What the fuck's their name?
Capybara,
Capybara, Jessica Capybara. Can you like she's got like the shiny red dress on? Like, can you hook me up? Can you like hook me up with her number or something like that sometime?
She is very beautiful. She is very beautiful, and she's also she's like our, to put it in a nutshell, think of Donatello and Raphael rolled into one. That's the best. And then a little Jessica Rabbit, will you, right? But in a capybara form. So she's like femme fatale. She's like the brains of the operation, but at the same time, like she gets pissed off real easily. That's just who she is. That's her character, Mona Lisa. And I just figured, you know, the name just came out to me when I was making the characters. There you go. You got a splash of her right there, done by Miss Sashi, who's done a lot of cool pinups.
So, sorry, what's her name? Her name's Mona Lisa?
Mona Lisa, yeah, that's her name. The capybara, yeah, Mona Lisa.
Yeah, no. All of the characters, is he like the sort of leader?
You could, I mean, I don't want to say that he's the leader because, I mean, you're going to see some missions he goes through, but the thing with, like, when we created this, me and Sebastian were like, okay, listen, I want one tank. You know, that's Bash. I said, I want one, you know, I want a chick and I want her to be freaking like the Hulk, Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with the Hulk now, body type, but I want her like her physique to be like, you know, like she's like in shape. And still show that she's a woman, right? Because I'm just that's just what I wanted and how I envisioned it.
You
And
want
then,
like you want classic She-Hulk.
Classic what?
You want classic She-Hulk, you know.
She-Hulk, yeah, man. That's like I'm gonna be honest with you. There was this issue, I don't know, I must have been like 12 or I was like 11, I don't know. And it was a Marvel swimsuit edition. Okay, I don't know. It was real. Okay, that's something I gotta Google. I don't know if that's been blacklisted. It was real. Okay, because I remember my favorite one was She-Hulk because she was just strong, but she also was, you know, she had a feminine figure. She was just, it was just like powerful, and I was just always mystified by that figure. And then now with the SJW crap, it's like she can't pee like this. She's like too late. It's just like, man, you know what? It's just silly. So that's where her inspiration came in. So I wanted to, you know, kind of tap into that. And then Ripple is more like a tall, slender, but you know, so we wanted to make them distinct, and Sebastian put his little artistic touch to give even Ripple like a little mustache. It looks like he's the pilot. It's just like, so he did amazing with that.
There's a panel. Where is it? It's
I think the you might, like I noticed that also, like you have like a really cool thing is like you guys you're thinking of the atmosphere a bit here, because I noticed that like you include in one of the kind of the recommended package, like the collector edition package, you have you include the MP3, of course, along with your poster as well as your book. But I think that's actually really kind of cool because it's just like, you know, you're including the MP3, like, you know, like the music, right? Like the atmosphere of music along with your book.
Yeah. That theme song was special because I had it in my head and I'm just singing it in my head. I'm like, okay, if I'm really want to capture this 90s feel, this 80s Saturday morning cartoon vibe, I got to have something that people could relate to. And I had the dude that I worked with on Lair. He did a soundtrack and we kind of talked, and then I'm like, dude, we like what I'm doing, we got to have a soundtrack. And I literally showed him some references. He fell in love. He's like, send me the lyrics you got. And I sent him the lyrics, and not 2 or 3 days later, he came out with his power anthem that gave me chills every time I heard it, because I'm like, wow, these are about, you know, my characters, but they feel really, really cool. You know, they feel really cool. And I'm like, is this even for real? Like, and just seeing that, it's like they come alive. So I'm like, I want to protect that anthem, because like, just say if anything, like, you know, let's say this does become the next Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's the anthem. That's not changing. You know, like I'm going to be that adamant about it. And like, I kind of want to protect it in a way. So Zalin, he's the guy that made it. But I'm like, you know, I wanted to give something to the backers that backed a little bit extra. Hey, granted, you could probably hear it on YouTube all you want, right? But you know what? Here, we're going to give you the actual MP3 that you can hear fully headphones with all the, you know.
If GROM does become a cartoon TV series, the Flatt Pack is always open to be voice actors.
Yeah, I want to be the bird. I want to say 650 trillion. No, I'm just joking. Actually, I'd want to be
100 quadrillion, right?
Yeah, I'd be anybody really. That'd be really cool. I actually want to be a
capybara.
I'll never get it.
It'll happen.
The day I'm able to pronounce it, I'll pronounce it, and then I'll get hit by a bus.
Like, you know,
yes!
We'll get that out you. I mean, what? How are you on rolling R's? Right? Yeah.
I'll put it on my tombstone if I say it as my last word.
Like,
it's tricky, but like once you get, because I was like that in the beginning too, but then it's just like copy bar. And like me and my friend Rich Rivera, he does Stabbity Bunny for Scout Comics. If you guys ever checked that out or ever heard of it, it's a really cool comic. And if you did, just the name is awesome in itself, Stabbity Bunny. So seriously, like if we get to stretch goals, that might be a crossover thing. I want to just propose to him, see if he'd give me permission if we could fund like a one shot off. But anyway, like I told him the idea about Galactic Rodents of Mayhem, and I'm like, copy bars. And me and him, it's just like when we just tweet each other, it's just like, or like message each other, it's just like, capybara, bro, capybara. And it's just like a silly thing, but his like, it's so cool to say. And once you say it, it's just like, it's going to be perfect. So just,
there was another thing I saw in one of the characters' bios. This coined term you've come up with is really cool. You said Ripple is the furry embodiment of cappy badassery.
Oh yeah, that one is just. I had to put badass somewhere, and then I'm like capybara. I'm like, you know what, capybadassery, and then it just boom. Ripple is like almost like a hairline above the other two as far as favorite. I know like they're my babies, and you can't have one favorite over the other, but it's something about Ripple. I don't know what it is that like. There's something about him. Yeah, like a hairline. I didn't say by much. It's almost a hairline, and I think it's because he's the pilot, and I think because I saw the script and I see like what he does. He wants to be a rock star. All this kind of cool stuff about him is just he never takes his shades off. It's just that kind of thing, where I feel like he's a cool one for me.
Yeah,
so he's kind of like your he's a bit of your self-insert.
I would love to be a rock star. I can't play a guitar, man. Ripple could rip it. I can't. One day, and I got that time where I can put 10,000 hours in. There's one thing for the bucket list to like, you need time to master an instrument, and guitar is just something that I just would love to master one day. But yeah.
So I love this panel where they've crashed the party at the auction, and she's like, Ripple, can you lose the shades? He's like, I'd rather keep them on. Now hold on to your fur. And he goes, they're all sort of standing there in the ship, and he goes, fifth wrong. Not wearing seatbelts in a ship that can hit quantum drive, and they just bash through the top of this building and break through.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's like, you imagine you steal a Ferrari, right? You're not going to like ram it through the fence, right? You're going to try to find a way. You probably open it up because you're stealing the Ferrari. It's just Sebastian, when he did that, he had it flying out through the roof. It's just like so cool. That was just so cool. Like, they got this awesome ship and they're already mashing it up, and it just shows that, even though they're the good guys, that they're going to do whatever they got to do to not give the bad guys an edge. They'll go that far to get that edge, Yeah.
I love it when they're saying all these wrongs. Remember, it takes a few wrongs to make things right. Although it seems like we're the bad guys. Trust me, looks can be deceiving. Oh, and on that note, don't ever call us rats. We are galactic rodents of mayhem.
Yeah, the rat thing, I tease it in the story, like, because they look at me, they're stereotyped as rats, and they just get pissed off. They're like, we're not rats. You look like a rat. You look like a guinea pig, right? You look like, what the hell are you? Like, so that's just another like thing we play along with.
Oh yeah,
in the narrative.
Capybaras.
Well, I mean, that's one of the best ways. To, like, if you give your characters a bit of irk or a bit of like a bit, it's like something that bothers them, something that's one of the best ways to get like a little character development, right? It's that little, it's little things like that you add up. It's the little things that lead to the bigger picture eventually, right?
Yeah.
I think like a good example of that is. One of the good examples of that was like when Leo and like Raph would get on each other's nerves every once in a while back in the old like not only the cartoons, like even in the comics and stuff like that, like they would get on each other's nerves, and that eventually became a thing of like, oh well, it became a who wants to be the leader, who should be the leader, and why was Leo chosen over Raph? Like Raph thinking like, I would make a great leader. And then Leo being like, well, yeah, but it's like your temper is too strong, Raph. That's the problem. It's and that also led to another interesting one, like in some of the more recent comics where they changed it up a bit, where Leo would then argue with Donnie like later on, because like they said, well, it makes sense for Leo to argue with Raph because Raph is the angry one. But what if Leo argues with Donnie because Donnie's too rational?
Yeah. And I think us as humans, we relate to that too, right? Like with our own family and stuff, right? It's like maybe, even in a team, right? Maybe if you're on the team and maybe, the coach picked this one, but why him? I played just as good. Like, I'm even better. But like, there's a reason the coach picked him for whatever reason. Like, these are things that people could relate to, and I thought it'd be cool. And definitely, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle references are giving me goosebumps, because I mean, I'm feeding off of that energy in what I create this story. It's like all the good stuff I remember, all the clashing and the conflict, the resolution, putting all that energy and what I love in comics into this storyline.
Yeah. See, what I'm getting from this is like, this is like when we were talking about leaders earlier. Like, no, I don't think this is a leader. I think I'm getting more of a Ninja Turtles vibe, or you remember like the Mighty Ducks, like that old cartoon, and even like the Rescue Rangers and stuff like that. This isn't like, this isn't about like Leo wasn't a leader because he was a leader. He was a leader because in a sense, he was almost the older brother of the group. Like they were a family, right? And so when they say Leo is a leader, it's not like, oh, we immediately think he's a leader. No, everyone has fair say in the group. It's
you're getting it, dude. You're getting more goosebumps, dude. You're getting it.
Leo also, like, yeah, he is the leader, but like I think he takes the leader role more serious than what it actually is.
Well,
like
he
like,
steps,
oh yeah,
he steps up to the plate, doesn't he? Steps up.
Well, it's the big brother mentality. It's the fact that like it's not, and this is why I'm bringing up the family aspect. It's the big brother thing. It's one person was like, one person is saying to themselves, okay, we're out, we're doing things, and then it's the first thing that comes to mind is, okay, but who's going to protect my brothers? And this is like, it's on my shoulders. It's Leo. Like one of Leo's greatest traits is like in like later comics and in later TV shows and stuff like that is the fact that he puts too much on his own shoulders. It's the fact that like it's why he became one of the recent favorite of a lot of people. Where it's like I have to. This is on me. I am like I'm the like not like I'm not the leader. I'm like we our father's not with us, so I have to take his role.
Yeah, you're hitting it, and especially when you bring up the father figure, because of course, if you're gonna do some TMNT inspired, you got to have a Master Splinter, right? So we do have a Master Splinter in our group, but there's something that happened in the past, right? And I kind of open up with like a flashback because again, I wanted to tie a little bit to with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, how just the origin is explained really quick. And then you go into like present day, they're just like they're older and whatever. So I kind of like adopt that for introducing Galactic Rodents of Mayhem. There's something that tragically happened, and you're gonna see this, right? But then we jump to like present time and their current struggle, and it's like I'm showing that with this story that not only the father figure, not only the being the leader, or not even like just that whole family dynamic. What I'm trying to explore also is the past. Sometimes we need to let the past go. Sometimes it's hard to let the past, and then Bash, what makes him so strong, what makes him so, I guess you could say a Leo-esque type, is that there's something in the past that he never forgot that the other two kind of forgot, and it deals directly with Master Splinter. So just imagine like if Master Splinter did something like really nefarious to like become the father of you guys, but you never knew that. But like it's like a memory that was so shocking and traumatic that your mind just pushed to the back, but Bash never got that memory pushed to the back. And he's like, he's okay, but he got to a point in his life where he's like, he's very confrontational with I get the gecko we got. Yeah, the gecko Splinter, right? So he's very confrontational where they're always the gecko's not clashing with him. The gecko's real peaceful. He's just calm. He just deals with it. But Bash is just like almost like intolerable at times because he knows this from the past. He's like, guys, why don't you remember it? Like what? They're like this again, and this is like an issue that's kind of clouding the team amidst the external struggles they're going through. So obviously, there's external struggle in the storyline. They're escaping a $100 million bounty that was put on their heads, right? Yeah. And we're dealing with the inner turmoil between just the group in itself and the past. A lot of it's linking to the past.
Well, no, I love that aspect of it. Like that's part of like what makes these things work. It's part of like it's like it's one of those things like when there was a point, right? Like it's you brought up like some great points here. Like it's the fact like Dinobot when Dinobot in Beast Wars, he was like he used to be one of the Predacons. So it's like or like so it's like that was a point of contention for like the first few episodes for some of the characters. They had to learn to trust him. He had to. It was even a point of contention for himself. It's like am I Predacon in my bloods, or can I actually become a Maximal? Can I become one of the good guys? Or
that's cool.
Like it's the aspect like, can they ever trust me? Can I ever even trust myself? Is it deep down in my programming? Am I eventually going to betray my friends?
Yeah, I think he even had a episode at the very least, or a few episodes that heavily dealt with that. I think there was a point. I mean, and this is just logical, but there was a point in the show in one episode, I believe, where he had the choice to. He had the choice to sort of jump ship and go back to
being. Oh wow!
I think, or something along those lines.
Well, yeah, he did have. There was one episode where he actually was given a choice where, he was told, okay, well, if you like, you know, it's like I'll like he was given like the, oh, we'll give you a better rank, we'll give you like these things if you betray them kind of thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say that didn't you the option to betray them, and you know, as storytellers, they clearly, like, I think they put a doubt in the viewer's mind of like, yeah, he could very well like do this kind of thing. Like you're really thinking he's really considering this, you know?
And that's where you see like a dynamic, right? Where you see like, okay, like he's questioning his own identity. Hey, I'm geared for this, but I feel like I'm here. But then now, how you just said, right? Like now that's in question. Now it's showing more depth to the character and more of his personal struggle too.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of my favorite parts is like when he later comes back, like during the final season, they make the trans metal body and they transfer his spark over and they like brainwash him to make him think he was always Predacon. And during that season, he's like a villain in that final season. And then the best part about it is Optimus constantly, like, anytime Optimus had like an actual a time to speak with him, he would be like, "Don't you remember like your friends? Don't you remember who we are?" And it's just like. And throughout that season, so in that final episode, he then finally remembers who's, and he actually sacrifices himself to save Optimus. And you're like,
"Holy cow! That just gave me
like that kind of stuff is like that. That's the moment. You're like, in his final moments, he became his true self, and he said, like, because that one season, it's like you can feel like he's betraying himself, and then there's points where he's questioning it because Optimus would always try to save him, and then it's just like at the end of that season, it's just like, I know I'm being wrong to myself, and then Optimus needs me, and it's like, so I will do one final good deed, and I will save the man who I'll save the man who saved me once before. You know, it's like, God damn it, like that's good storytelling right there. You know what I mean?
That is, and was that like late 80s?
That was actually like in the 90s. It was Beast. It was
the
during the
90s too?
Beast Wars cartoon. Like, so the Beast Wars actually.
Oh yeah, Beast Wars, and that's more far along than the regular Transformers, I think. Right?
Yeah, like that's actually a sequel to the regular Transformers.
It was called Beast Wars in the U.S. and in Canada it was called Beasties.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I prefer
there's a whole thing like so Canada had a weird rule during the 90s where you couldn't put war in your name if it was a kids show. Yeah.
Fair enough, but hey, as long as you know they got the real gist of that message and that wasn't censored, they're good. They're better for it.
Well, the show that the company that produced the show was actually a Canadian company. They went by Mainframe at the time. They're the same guys who actually made the Reboot cartoon back in the day.
Oh god, I remember Reboot.
Yeah.
Didn't Netflix then reboot? So it's like a double reboot.
Yeah, it's weird. I've watched it. I gave it.
It's not good.
I gave it a season, and the only cool thing they did was only really kind of cool or not cool at all, or just lame. But anyway,
there's some stuff on Netflix that are really
Netflix is like a weird bag.
Yeah, it is. Godzilla, the anime, right? Like I just saw it, and for me, it seemed like yes, there's gonna be a winner. And I tried watching it last week, and maybe it was a little late. I don't know. It was like 1 a.m, but you know, I got my cell phone, I got my headphones on, just a little something. Wifey's asleep next to me. I'm like, okay, let me just watch a little something. But dude, in the first, I don't want to say couple of minutes, I was already like, I couldn't care, and I switched to something else, and I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, is this me? I don't know if anyone saw it, if it's great, but then I tweeted about it, and someone was like, no, it really wasn't good at all. Like this, I'm like, okay, great. But I'm like, that's a whole other story. But there's some stuff on Netflix.
Yeah, like it's weird to me because like, okay, Netflix. Like on one hand, you get something really awesome, like Devilman Crybaby was amazing. Like, and I remember watching Devilman Crybaby. Yeah, like, and I want to point out like the reason Devilman Crybaby was so good is because they actually got Go Nagai, the guy who originally created the old comics from like the back in the 80s, to oversee it to make sure it followed the comics as best
even better.
Yeah,
they need more of that.
Yeah, we need more of that. And then so you get something amazing like that, or even the new Carmen Sandiego is actually really good. And then
I saw that and I wanted to watch it. I haven't got it to it only because of the nostalgia. So it's pretty good.
It's actually really good. I was a little iffy at first of them making Carmen a good guy, but then they actually they pulled it off really well because like they do a thing where she's not 100% a good guy, because like some people
Okay.
still see her as a villain. Like the
As a
police
villain,
force
right.
see her as a villain, and like so the police force is chasing her, and but then there's the actual bad guys. Like so she's going after the actual bad guys, but she doesn't want to
Yeah.
go within the law kind of thing. So she's doing things on her own.
He's like in full-fledged vigilante mode.
Yeah, so I'm like, this is interesting.
Cool.
It's interesting. It works. And there was a really interesting confrontation at the end that I actually really liked. I don't want to ruin it because spoilers. But trust me, it's actually surprisingly better than I gave it. Than I was going to give it credit for. They have like a nice little reference to the old video games. They have a guy. His name is Player. He's like supposed to be like the reference of the game player who used to play the old like video games back in the day. Stuff
that
like
was only one of the really interesting things I found that they did with the reboot show, the new one. That was kind of not. It was good and it wasn't good, but it was like, and I'm not spoiling anything because I really don't recommend the show, but they sort of explained it that Mainframe was a computer that was in this lab, like experimental lab thing, and so it had sort of outside of reboot elements, and they actually showed the guy who was most of the time like the user in the show, and it was kind of a crack at nerds, I guess it was, but it was still kind of funny because all of a sudden this game turns on. He's like, "Oh, I can finally beat them" or whatever, like, and he's been waiting for like 20 years or whatever.
For ages for that moment.
Like, okay, so here's my thing, because like the original reboot would only hint at like the outside world, like the mainframe, like the mainframe being an actual computer, because like that was kind of the beauty of the original reboot. I feel like you're kind of putting it too much of the nail on the head with this new one. I don't know. I'll have to again, like,
trust me, you know, I think the reason why I liked it so much is because I was like, finally, this show's referencing the old show new that they came up with, and so different from reboot, where it's actually refreshing when they go back and start talking about reboot. Like one of the characters' dad helped work on Mainframe or whatever, like build Mainframe, and help build the next generation computer.
Oh man, you bring up a good moment. There was 2 days ago, I was I don't know, like sometimes it's just me and the wife are like, okay, what are we watching? And I'm like, what are you in the mood to watch? And she loves watching like post-apocalyptic stuff, like the world's about to end or that kind of thing. So there's this movie, it's called Rim of the Worlds. And it looked cool, and it's like this camp, you know, the kid goes to camp and then the aliens come. It kind of, I was thinking like maybe it's like Attack the Block in a way, like, but not in a neighborhood setting, but maybe in like a camp setting. And it sounded cool. But man, I think the woke meter was set really high.
Yeah, I think I saw you tweeted about that, didn't you?
Holy cow! Yeah, it was. I never get it's so hard to offend me, man. It like really is. And, no, I'm serious. And like, there's a show I'm watching. Also, it's called Santa Clarita Diet. It's on Netflix.
Yeah,
it's
I
like
watched
zombie.
the first season of that.
Yeah. So it's like, I'll deal with it. And I know there's really like, they're like with the lesbianism and all that, and they'll go a little bit hard on it. But I'm like, you know, I like Timothy Olyphant, I like Drew Barrymore, and I like the concept with the zombies. So I'll tough it out. And I'm like, okay, I'll watch it. But with this one, they went so hard. Like the dude gets to the camp, and it's like, you know, you have like one of the camp instructors. This is a young, cool black dude. He's like, oh, we got a cool handshake, but it's only for the black people, not for the white people. I'm like, okay, I get it. So we're going on. And then like, here's another part in the story. And then like, they're just going on with it, right? So then it's like not even 5 minutes, but we're more on this than anything. Or maybe it's 3 minutes, but it seems so long. Where it's like the same black dude is now talking with another black dude who's also like his coworker. And they're talking about Toy Story. And they're comparing Toy Story, and they're the way they did it, it's like, man, isn't it like white people take away all the fun? Or, you know, like think about Toy Story, right? Like the kid is like the white person, he represents this, right? And then like the black people are like the toys, right? So like when the white person, you know, leaves the room, you know, the black people can have fun, or like at work when the boss.
Oh my god!
It's like, dude, and it's like
that's straight up racist.
Dude, it's like, I'm watching this. I'm like, what where's the story at? Like, aren't we supposed to know what's going on with this kid? And we get into this. It's too much, man. It's not even organic. It's not even natural. It's just like this is where it took me out of the story. I'm like, okay, man, you went too hard. Like,
like you
do it in a way it's creative.
You never go full woke.
Like you can make funny jokes that play with race. But
you could do it even if you want to do the Toy Story thing. Do it in a way, but like make it applicable to the story. Like you got to have a character that maybe he's a token a boss that's so rude and whatever, and like I don't know. You got to do it in a way where you can get creative with it.
Yeah, like okay, the way I would have probably done that. Like if the if the white guy was there and like he walked out right, and he was like. Let's say he's like the straight-laced white dude. Like he's very straight-laced, very white. Very much like, hello, fellow friends. It's like I'm just making my salami.
They have to do like that. They actually had to do like that, but he wasn't like the leader, or like not the leader. Gosh, my man is on like this comic book stuff. He wasn't the boss. Like he was just another. He was just another counselor. But like I get what you're saying. If they had the boss fit this prototypical whatever, and then he's you're right. That could have worked.
Like, and then he walked out, and then they'd be like, "So this is like this is kind of like Toy Story, isn't it? Right? Like he comes in, he's playing, he doesn't know what's going on. He walks out, the toys wake up, and they like do whatever the heck."
But that scene you described, it's like that kind of woke thing that makes you roll your eyes. You're like, oh, really?
But that's the problem. It exactly did that to me. I never, like I said, I don't get offended at this stuff. But for me, this was like. It was too much. Like, dude, I'm saying it bothered me. I'm like, I get what you're trying to do. I get the awareness. You want to create awareness. But in a movie, you got to do it a certain way, and you can make it work. And it won't feel like
it's got to fit in the right. It's got to fit in the right situation and the right scene, doesn't it?
Just exactly, just like the example he brought up, it could have worked, and you could have built that up through time.
Yeah.
And maybe by the middle of the movie, the boss walks out, and then everyone just like disregards what he says and does whatever the hell they want, and like he comes back and they're trying to act like everything's cool, but the mess is already there. Like it would be like it could be funny, and you can play on stereotypes. You can play on that. I mean, David Chappelle. I don't know if he's a comedian you guys know or follow, but he made a career doing that. And just you can get away with it,
but you see the difference is that, and he was given so much flack too by black people, by white people, by everybody.
The woke crowd,
because he took cracks at anybody and everybody, and that's
but he don't care. Yeah,
that's what a good comedian does. And unfortunately, that's the thing though. Is like it's funny because it's like you listen to like Martin Luther King, right? Who was a great black leader and really revolutionized a whole bunch of stuff. And he was like, okay, I want to dream of a world of like where nobody like that's not like that. Obviously there are differences, but like we don't see color, you know what I mean? And that's the thing is that by going and saying, oh, we have a handshake, is counterproductive to that, because it'd be the same thing as back then when white person would be like, well, we have a secret handshake and black people can't do it. It's when you get to a point where it's like, you know what, everybody's a human being, and we have to learn to laugh at ourselves and understand that everybody's a human being. It doesn't matter what race, what skin color you are, or where you come from.
I mean, my wife a few months ago, she watched Chris Rock's new stand-up on Netflix, I think it was, and she said, I had to turn it off. She goes, usually I find Chris Rock funny. Like, I used to find him funny as well. She goes, his whole setup was not a single joke at all. It was just literally bashing on white people. He goes, I buy. He made what I use this word loosely. He made one joke. It was an anecdote. He goes, everything I buy in the kitchen is white. He goes, so my kids will associate that with danger. So he buys that all dangerous stuff.
That's not even funny.
Like a white oven, white oven top. Hobs and white handled knives and kitchen surfaces all white, so that his kids associate it with white people and danger.
Kids don't see color though. That's a problem. Kids don't see color. Kids, like when they're a kid, they're innocent. Racism is brought on by the parents.
Exactly.
That's just how it survives through it. It's just there's people in the world that are just hateful.
Well, just like that.
Bruce Lee, who was a peaceful guy, right? Bruce Lee was peaceful, and he would, dude, not racist at all, right? Yeah. But he would say, hey, we are different though. As people, we're the same, but then we're different, and we got to understand that we're different. But then we also got to understand that we're also the same, you know.
Yeah.
But let's not highlight the differences and separate, and like let's just embrace us as people. But then, of course, just in the political climate, it's just this whole thing where no one's voice can get across equally, because then you got like the woke stuff. Then you got like the super racist stuff, and just like where could we find this equal divide where it's just like, hey, where could we like sit down and talk and just but again, the racism,
I think that with current culture, they throw intention out the window. Like it is really hard to know the exact intention of somebody. I because we can't read minds, but like we can't just let that stop us from humor, you know, like and like, you know, you look these days and we have so much anxiety and we have so much depression out there, and yet SJW and woke culture and stuff want to take away jokes. Oh, you can't say that. Oh, can't do that. Oh, that's going to offend somebody. And then it's like all of a sudden there's no jokes, there's no comedians around. People can't learn to laugh at themselves and
this will make
fun at other things. And yet, like, so we're taking away funny things and the ability to laugh. And now there's all this incline of anxiety and depression. Oh, I wonder fucking why, because nobody can laugh.
Nobody will expose themselves to or, you know, differing points of view. You know, you was Corey, you were just saying about comedy and comedians. I saw on Twitter that there's a TV channel in the UK called Dave. They show like sort of comedy panel shows and things like that, and they show I think throughout this month or week they were showing like comedians that or comedy jokes that were voted like funny fringe jokes. And it was this one comedian, she goes, oh, I can't stop saying cauliflower and broccoli. I think I might have florets. And that's a funny little pun, it's silly. But a Tourette's charity got so butthurt and salty about it that they went, we demand the comedian apologise. We demand that Channel Dave remove this joke and apologise. It's like, that's a lame dad's joke. Not even that. That's a joke that you'd say when you're in primary school.
Well, you know who's funny is fucking Steve Harvey, and it's because he doesn't give a shit about race and stuff like that. He just fucking does comedy. And...
Steve Harvey is a classic dude. There's a few that are. There's one that he's kind of maybe a little off radar. His name is Sebastian Maniscalco. I don't know if you guys ever heard of him. He's pretty funny. His thing is people, right? Like we're gross, right? Like he'll just talk about like the things that people do with no remorse, and like, man, we're like, aren't you embarrassed? Like, people like, aren't you like, seriously? That's like his thing. He's I like him a lot. Wife likes him a lot, but with comedians, there's so like there's a wide range, right? But then at the same time, like you need to be able to have fun. But then at the same time, you got to understand society, and you got to be critical at certain points, but also have fun.
Yeah.
And the Chris Rock, I haven't found him as great as of late, and I haven't even been put like this. Jerry Seinfeld, I love him as a comedian. I don't know if you guys like him, but he has this show called Comedians in Cars with Coffee on Netflix, or it was out probably before Netflix, but Netflix got it.
I like, it was on Crackle originally.
Yeah.
I remember previews is like only on Crackle, and then Crackle went downhill, and he's like, yep, jumping on the Netflix wagon.
Dude, but the thing that I love about it is this: it's just when he gets on with a good comedian, and they just get along naturally. It's like there's no awkward tension. Like it's just fun. And with Chris Rock, it didn't come across as fun. It was just like his. Not to say that he ain't funny, but like he's still, I don't know, man. There's something off that was, dude, it's not theirs. He's not who he was.
Funny enough, Steve Harvey was on there, and I like how getting in coffee and cars with comedians can sometimes be funny, and sometimes it can be like, sometimes they can have like a real deep conversation too.
Yeah. It's a great show.
And it's kind of fun too, because then they'll break up the really sort of serious talk with like, then they'll like show images of coffee being poured or taking a drive in a really fancy car. like they'll, he's had some pretty amazing people on there. Jim Carrey, he's had
Jim Gaffigan is another one that I like. I don't know.
Jim Gaffigan is funny. Yeah,
He had a good one. Even Sebastian Maniscalco, check it out. He did one with Jerry. He actually made it on there, which he's kind of getting up there. If you can't check that one, you can get at least a feel for him in like a short segment, as opposed to watching the whole stand-ups if you don't want.
Yeah.
But I would love to see Dave Chappelle get on with Jerry Seinfeld. I don't think he's got on, right?
Dave Chappelle
There's still quite a good few heavy hitters that haven't been on there, I imagine, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I think if he didn't pass away, I think Robin Williams would have been on there.
Oh, he was.
Oh yeah, that would have been awesome.
I would like to see. I would like to see Gabriel Iglesias.
If he would make it on there, the Fluffy dude,
funny.
that would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, well, I've actually been live. Like, the one thing I really like about the Fluffy dude is that, like, he never has the same show twice. Like, he makes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot that I've seen. Like, I've seen this joke already. It's like you replay the same joke. So he's actually fresh in that regard.
Like, he trashed that. He said the only jokes he replays are ones, like, he replays like maybe one or two jokes. After that, he said like he likes to do every show different, and he likes to do it almost on the fly every single time if he can.
Yeah.
Nice.
I can't blame him.
There's
It's just him being himself, probably. That's cool. You don't have to recite anything.
There's a British comedian that you should check out. He's called Ross Noble. And he's like that. He doesn't repeat. I don't even think he has any material at all. He just goes out on stage. He obviously has a few anecdotes but the way he goes off on tangents, but then manages to bring them all back together, and it's all like
that's cool.
All because
that's a
of
skill.
All because of like interactions with the audience and stuff. Like when he does live gigs, like. People will in the intermission will take up gifts to the front of the stage, and he'll have a look like, oh, someone's made like a board game of like all the jokes like he's made from like previous stand-up comedy gigs and stuff. But yeah, he's a really funny guy. Again, he gets
good material that way.
Yeah, just goes off on these tangents and rambles.
Aaron Noble, you said?
Ross Noble.
Ross Noble. I'm gonna check him out.
You know what's funny is I think if Robin Williams started out right now in comedy, I think he would have pissed a lot of people. Like,
you could see it's 2019 and Robin Williams is the epiphany of toxic masculinity.
And yet they like celebrate him and stuff like that, and it's just like ironic. Like, not that I don't, because he's a friggin' legend, but it's just funny, and it just goes to show like how crazy they are. Like it's just like I don't know, just
they went overboard, dude.
Yeah.
So some of the best material was that they had no filter. They just said whatever, man. They like
this morning this morning I put cream in my coffee. Oh my god.
Well, you know what's funny? You're gonna laugh at this, because on Twitter I came across and this is again a comic that someone shared, and it was like not even in the first page, and I'm already getting this. And it was I think it was Miss Marvel, right? That she's the Muslim girl now. I think I offended someone by calling her a Muslim girl. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have. But what's even interesting is that a typical, I don't even know the villain. Okay, it was white, blonde hair, white. Was I think his suit color, whatever, spandex color. I don't know who the hell he was, but he's cornering her right against the wall, and he's like, "I got you, little girl." Oh, seriously.
Yeah, I saw that.
This is what he said.
I think it might have been you that tweeted this, wasn't it? I saw that it screenshotted on Twitter.
Yeah.
I got you, little girl. What does that even mean?
But here's the thing. She's like, "Oh, another sexist."
Yeah.
So it's like apparently you can't call a little girl little. Like, dude, it's just like, I'm like, this is like the person that read that had to suffer through that, but put it out there. Like, this is why like I'm so disconnected from Marvel, and like I love the movies, and like I haven't picked up a Marvel book. It's been a few years, I want to say. A lot of the stuff I do pick up is old stuff. Like I picked up the Dark Phoenix saga just because, I wanted to catch up on it before Yeah, I wanted to catch up on it before watching the movie because I want to get everything the way it was intended through the comic book, and then to see how they bring it over. Because when I initially read it, it was so long ago in floppies. I'm like, no, let me get the collected, see what I get. And so those kind of things that is what I still get from Marvel, the classic stuff. But like, how do you pick up an issue and you already get something like this right in the first page, like sexist, and you just call a little girl? Like, where are we going, man? Like, what seriously? It's alarming, man.
It's hard trying to even take the classics away from us too. The SJWs too. They're like, oh, if you like that stuff, then you're sexist, and like they're trying to like before their message was like, oh. You can just go back to the old stuff if you don't like the new stuff. Now it's like, oh, you don't like the new stuff, you're sexist. Oh, you like the old stuff, well, you're sexist and racist and homophobic and
yeah, they're gonna call me sexist when they see my capybara girl.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I don't know what's so sexist about it. Like should you be ashamed of being a woman or a female?
It worked out for Matt Wenger, who we had on the show a month or so back with his comic Super Harem with the sexy ladies, and I think like Renfamous was going, "Oh, is this Comicsgate stuff that all they can do?"
Like, well, I love it because like she didn't realize that the Super Harem was just a joke, right? Like it's the point of Super Harem was that it's supposed to be
outrageous.
It's supposed to be a joke. Like the point of it is that like it makes fun of the scenario of like, what if the girls got their powers by the fact of like that they had to sleep with some dude, right? Like it's
freedom. You can write whatever you want, and if people want to buy it, it works. Doesn't they have that? That man eaters where like the chicks on the period, right? And then they just eat the men for some reason.
Yeah.
It sounds cool. Like if it was a horror movie, I'd just totally watch that. Yeah. I don't know how. Like I don't know if the message was that
the book was bad. I read a few issues. It was bad.
Like
literally, there's literally one issue.
They only see their points though, and anything else is just like, it doesn't matter. It could be the exact same point, but because it's not part of XYZ that's on their list. Then oh my god, yes, like it's bad.
Well, yeah, like the thing is it's not about good storytelling. It's about, do you meet the standards?
Agenda.
Yeah, like that's all it's about. Like it's not even about selling well. It's literally, do you meet the standards that we have set to deem you good in society?
The grocery list.
Yeah, Switch.
I'm gonna start calling it the grocery list.
Switch. What were you going to say about you've read a couple of issues? You said you were going to say.
Oh yeah, like I read a couple of issues of the period one. I can't remember the name of it right now.
Is it Man Eaters or something? It's called.
Yeah, Man Eaters. Yeah.
So like again, the premise isn't bad. Like as was stated, the premise isn't bad. And I agree with Gilly there. But the problem is like the execution was terrible. One issue is literally just ads. It's literally just ads, and not like real ads. They're like ads that they made up. And so you bought a 22-page comic with all 22 pages being fake ads.
Oh, jeez.
That are just like, and they're poorly photoshopped ads.
But with that,
was that
with that, people should support. People should support GROM. And not.
Yeah, let's. Yeah, I'm trying to. What was it? I'm trying to do some new stuff for those who like miss the good old stuff, right?
Quickly, I forgot to do it, but I always ask the question: if you had any advice for anybody starting right now, and someone said, I want to make a comic book, and they came to you, what would be the number one advice you'd give them?
Pray. Because there's a lot of stress that goes in with it, and if you want to have a comic, if you're an artist and you can draw, you're a step of the game. If you're a writer like me, that sadly I'm just a writer, keep writing, have a finished product. Don't have some half-assed stuff. Have a finished product. Just have a finished product. At least story finished, right? You don't have to have it finished, because sometimes you go in and you don't have something finished and you're spitballing, and have something finished. So you seem and you look and appear to be professional, and people will see that you take your work seriously. Because I've seen some stuff on some Kickstarter campaigns that I'm like, people are actually like trying to crowdfund some stuff. Like they think they can just put something out there and make a quick $1, but this is a serious thing. You're putting out a book. People are gonna read it. They're putting stock in you. They're investing in you. This is your brand, essentially. You know, I don't have a brand. I don't have ads. I don't have, you know, I'm trying, like, I'm in weird territory because I can't offend anybody, right? Because let's just say I attack Marvel, you know, hey, whatever, Doc Justice on the J Team, right? You know, this is, you know, pretty cool stuff. It's like their new superhero group they threw out. And whatever, for whatever reason, let's say GROM picks up, someone's going to go back in my tweets for like the past whatever. I don't know how back you can scroll now. Before you could scroll almost, I think, the whole way to their first tweet. And they'll screenshot something and they'll try to manipulate a storyline into it being about hate and into be about this. So we're in a crazy time. So for anyone that would want to just start out, just have your story, have it complete. If it's a first issue, have it complete. Take the time to just do it right. Get other people to look at it, critique it, go back to it, but have something that's complete that you can start. And like I said, if you're an artist, you can do your own work. Okay, great. But if you're a writer, you're going to have to hire someone, and don't give them no back-end deal. If you're good and you could talk someone into a back-end deal, that's great. That's good. But offer to pay for some service and do a pitch. Like for GROM, I did a pitch. I mean, I work with Sebastian, so we got a great relationship, so it's a whole different thing. But, you know, I did pay him for the first couple of pages and some the first couple of art we put out. And I'm still paying a lot of stuff out of pocket. But the idea is we can fully fund and he can get his work. You know, the colors get his rate. Everyone get what's owed to them. We got shipping, production, everything covered. Do your calculations, right? Make sure everything's covered. And be professional, because if you put out a pitch, you want to have something that people could see, at least something related to the story, some character, something. Even like if it's a little 3-page standalone story, you just need something. You got to pitch something. Yeah. Because some people might not have enough to crowdfund $100,000 book, right, or a $50,000 book, right? Because if you add it up, it's costly. So you're gonna have to put some of your own money into your own work. It's like investing in yourself. So. I mean, it's not like, hey, I'll just go crowdfunding and I'm going to get the money I need. And nah, bro. No, you need to really think it out and hash out a really good plan. And a marketing plan. There's a lot to it. So that's what I'm saying. I'm talking a lot because there's one question about how you want to get started. I'm saying pray. That was my first thing, to pray. There's a lot that goes with it.
With that, to wrap it up, because I've got to go, unfortunately.
Yes. And I think we all got to do something, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
we really appreciate you coming on, Gilly, to talk about your graphic novel. Is it a graphic novel or comic? Yes. I'm not sure which to refer it to.
Your space hamsters.
I like space hamsters. I like, bounty hunter capybaras. Comic for me works well, but I remember my screenwriting professor, or creative writing professor. He was like, graphic novel? Oh, you do graphic novels? I'm like, okay, yeah. I'm like, I do comic books. Yeah, I write comics. He's like, oh, you write graphic novels? I'm like, okay, so I guess you could call it either or. For me, it works.
Yeah. Well, we really appreciate
graphic novels more like a big trade, right? Like the big trade, and then comic book is like floppy. But yes, thank you for having me on, fellas. This was great. I appreciate talking comic shop.
You're welcome to come back on again in future. Love to have you on.
Awesome. I'm glad that we cleared that out, because I don't want to be annoying or stalking. Just let me know when I'm good to come in.
We always jump on. Actively encourage creators to come on the show as guests. So 58. Awesome. We've got 58 backers and 58 days left on the Indiegogo. Nice. So you're up to, I know it's in pounds for me, £1,812 with a $15,000 goal. Well, that's
15K. So that comes out to like 2,000. We're $1 shy of 2,200. So we're getting there.
So yeah, definitely.
I hope you make it, because honestly, I think it looks like a very well thought out idea. I think if you can get the voices out there to the right people, I think you can definitely make it.
Well, interesting enough, I'll just end this real quick. I don't know if you guys know who Sean Murphy is.
Oh, Sean Murphy,
yeah. Okay, I love his work. Absolutely adore his work. And his latest Batman White Knight, I adored it. It was awesome. I love the take on the Joker, was just so cool. Made it fresh. Someone asked him, what's like something you want to do? And this was like earlier today. He said either Pirates of Darkwater, I think, if I'm not getting it right. And then he even said Biker Mice of Mars. So just imagine Sean Gordon Murphy putting his spin on Biker Mice of Mars. But someone responded to him with my shot of Grom, the cover image. Michael, who he has his stuff going on, and he does a book on Indiegogo, but he put it out there, and I'm just like, the fact that Sean Gordon Murphy is even hinting with bringing the biker mice back, it's like, man, I'm on the right track with Grom. We already launched out, and we kind of got that notion already.
Yeah.
We don't have the star power of Sean Gordon Murphy, but hopefully he sees it, gives it a retweet. That'd be cool. But it shows that we're on the right track.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think you definitely are. I mean, like, it's one of the things. Like, I've spoken to some people who've had to rework the campaign and like do a second run to get it done. So like, I want to give you that advice. Like, don't be afraid to like maybe rework a few things and come back later if it doesn't, like, presuming it does.
For sure.
But like,
for sure.
But like, it's one of those things where hopefully you make it the first time around. But if you don't, you know what? Like, don't let that dissuade you. That's the first thing you got to say to yourself. Like,
it's a good story that needs to be told and needs to be seen. So
yeah,
awesome. Let's just hope Sean Gordon Murphy doesn't bring the biker mice back, and then no one's gonna remember my capybaras on this season, right? Imagine that'd be a good thing for comics either way. But yes,
he's working on White Knight Volume 2 right now, so I don't think Biker Mice from Mars is right away in his future.
Yeah, we got to find out who got the rights to that too, right? That's probably another thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, final words.
Guys, thank you for having me. It's just amazing. Good talking. We had a lot of range that shows that we know how to keep a good combo going. Long live indie comics. If you check out GROM, please share. If you don't have the coin, at least share. It helps us get out there.
Yeah. I wish you all the best, man. I really, really do wish you all the best. For the people at home, donate to this. Also check out his Pistolera and Lair as well. There's other graphic novels that you've done. Awesome work by Gilly.
Yeah, for sure. Follow me on Twitter, DM me. I'll make sure you guys can get a copy. And if this Galactic Rodents of Mayhem ever becomes an animated feature, count on these guys to star as voices somewhere. There'll be anthropomorphic voices blended here.
Jeez, I was only expecting a role. I wasn't expecting a star in it.
We'll make something happen. Let's see if we get to that point. That'd be cool.
And what about you, Switch? Any final words?
I mean, I just want to thank Gilly for coming on, and by all means, like, it looks like a really cool project, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
So,
cool. Heck yeah.
Did you go, Corey? I can't remember if you had.
No, but I only have something quick, and that's back this book because I want to be a freaking voice star of the
gerbil. Will you have you as the gerbil?
Or the Disney Plus or whatever picks it up.
No, we ain't doing Disney, man. We ain't doing Disney. I'd rather do HBO. We ain't doing Disney.
Whatever other streaming service picks this up,
maybe
you want to hear our lovely voices in as really kick-ass space rodents, then this is the book to back. This is the book to back, baby. That's all I have to say.
Guys. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And so with that, thank you to everyone that joined us live, or if you're checking this out later on. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow all these guys on Twitter and their YouTube channels. Again, I really wish you all the best of luck for the future, Gilbert, and love to have you on again.
Until next time, thank you so much for having me.
Until next time. We'll catch you in the next episode of the Flatt Pack. Take it easy, everyone. Bye.